Good evening. Welcome to Boss Stuff Academy, where we give you all of your stimulus updates. Be sure to like us on Instagram as well as Facebook, as well as on YouTube. If you have any stimulus questions, please do drop them in the comments, DM us. We're going to go over tonight about more PPP funds. And I am glad we're going to get this going so that we can talk about more PPP funds. What's going to happen? What's the next steps? How can you get some money? And also, I'm going to give you a couple of updates on EIDL as well. So as people join us, be sure to like and share this. Even if you're not a business owner, remember that even if you are a sole proprietor, you can still qualify for these stimulus funds for both EIDL as well as PPP. PPP is still going through right now through the CDFIs or CFIs, which are a lot of your minority banks, disadvantaged banks. They have, and I haven't been able to see the reporting for this week, but as of 2 weeks ago, they had a little bit under $8 billion. I keep posting for us to sign the petition for more PPP. How long is the forgiveness process? The forgiveness process, you can, hey there, for the forgiveness process, you can do it whenever. You just have to have exhausted all of the funds. You got 10 months before your first payment, so it's very wise to do the forgiveness process prior to your first payment being due. But even if you wait and you're a procrastinator and you don't really do what you're supposed to, then you can actually still do it when your payments are due. So hey, so there's no time frame on when you can do the forgiveness. It's just highly advised that you do it before your first payment. Well, when it does start and what all documents do you need? It's going to vary from lender to lender. Some lenders are making people do a one pager. Some lenders are asking for documentation. So it's just going to vary lender to lender. Wherever you got the funds from, that's where you're going to go back to do your forgiveness. And then remember, a lot of people are getting this confused, and I'm glad you're asking these questions about forgiveness. A lot of people are not understanding that it says a minimum. Minimum means the very least, the bottom is 60% on wages. So if you are a sole proprietor, that means all of the money can come back to you as wages because you're the only person in your business. And remember, it says a minimum of 60%. So a lot of people are trying to figure out how, and you can spread it out over time. Remember, you just can't double dip with unemployment funds for the same period that you're saying that you are paying yourself for with PPP funds. So remember, you just can't overlap the two. And then if you have employees, the ERTC credit, which is the employee retention tax credit, you can't overlap those things, but you can actually claim all three. Talk to your payroll person about the ERTC credit. But as far as the paying yourself, you can do that as you normally pay yourself, even if you transfer it into a different account. Remember that once you get it as your paycheck, that's your paycheck to go spend it on whatever you want to. And then if you choose not to pay yourself the entire funds, then you can use it on approved expenses such as rent. Now, if you have a mortgage on your building or your office or wherever, they will only pay for interest. They won't pay on the principal. You can't use that part for forgiveness. Utilities, certain overhead, approved expenses, but I would suggest you go to the SBA website and look at those expenses and see what are the approved expenses. But the easier thing is just to spend it on payroll. So then that way you don't have to get into a lot of documentation. But tonight I wanted to talk to you about people that are still in queue waiting on their PPP funds, and what are next steps. There isn't a bill, but there's a lot of proposals about getting more funding. Even if your business is out of your residence, yes, because you are allowed to have a home office, and just like you do with your taxes, as you claim a percentage of your utilities, you claim a percentage of your square footage for your space. So yes, even if you run your business out of your residence, you would do it on a percentage. You can't say right off the whole house, because some of the house is being used for your personal usage. So yes, Lisa, that would be you, because you're a sole proprietor. If you do not, that's if you do not have payroll where you're taking out taxes. A lot of people are getting that confused and thinking that they have employees. If you don't take out taxes, they are not your employees. I can't stress this enough. That means that they are a gig worker, 1099. They can apply for their own PPP. But what I got on here tonight to talk to you about was more PPP funds. There are still millions of businesses, because remember, you can be a sole proprietor using your own social security number with no business name, using your own individual name to qualify for PPP. Well, we need you to sign that petition that I keep posting, because your Congress people need to hear from you to know to replenish the funds, because a lot of the larger businesses got the bulk of the funds, and it left the sole proprietor, people with one employees out in the crowd. No, I was saying that would be us that are waiting. Oh, okay, you're still waiting on your PPP funding. Okay, I got you now. So you need to, Lisa, we need you to sign the petition. Even if you got your PPP funds, sign the petition for your friends that are in need of this money. Please do. Hey, Stunner. Please do sign the petition so that they can get more funding. Also, they understand, the government is also understanding that African Americans, minorities, women, smaller businesses, sole proprietors, because of the wording, paycheck protection made people that are sole proprietors not understand that they were eligible. So they had a small window of time. Some people didn't have a good banking relationship, so that caused another hurdle for them and not being able to get their PPP funds, because the banks, especially your larger retail banks, were catering to their larger customers. Because remember, the government, the SBA, paid the banks for processing PPPs. So they were getting a percentage during the first round. So that's why it was hard for people that was only going to qualify for $4,000, $6,000 to get approved. Because if I've got a corporation and this same file is going to make me $100,000, why would I work on a file that's only going to make me $100? It mathematically did not make sense. So they came back in at the beginning of the year and started saying, okay, well, we'll give you $2,500 minimum for every PPP you process. So the banks actually made more money than some people even got in PPP funds. And some of those funds came out that the banks were making. So what we need to do, and I can't stress this enough, sign the petition so that these people that know that they're coming up for midterm election, that you are a voter. You are going to vote them out of there if they can't get you your money. So I can't stress this enough. Remember, you got to band together to get something on the floor. But like I said, right now they're saying that minorities, by race, minorities, women are a minority, veterans, that these people were at a disadvantage for these PPP funds, and they had a smaller window of time for them to catch on, understand, and know the process. So sign the petition. But I'm going to switch gears now and talk about EIDL. Remember, EIDL is directly through the SBA. PPP is through a bank, a lender. Don't get the two confused. You can apply for both, but you just have to disclose how much you got for PPP and when you're doing your EIDL. I just want to make sure that people understand that if a number out of Texas, and you can even Google the number, I got a phone call today out of Texas, and I Googled the number to make sure it wasn't anybody pulling a scam. And when I Googled the phone number while I was on the phone with them, the number came up as the SBA. So make sure that you are answering unknown numbers, especially out of Texas. And I've seen on several blog sites where other people are saying their phone calls are coming from Texas as well. So you want to make sure you're answering their call because they may have additional questions that they need to ask you. Also, if you have a problem with your tax return, I would go on the irs.gov and see if you can download your transcript. Now, it's different from businesses versus sole proprietors who may be filing a Schedule C, because your Schedule C will be on your personal return, versus if you are S Corp or C Corp, that's not going to be on your personal transcript. So what you need to do is to check in to make sure that they have a record of your taxes, because I had an error, and I'm just being totally transparent, on one of my businesses where it says that my return was not showing up for one of my S corporations. So we had to go through that to get that resolved. Also, what you want to do is, if you do not think that your taxes may be on file, or they are sitting on some truck somewhere for your 2019, they will also do your 2018 transcript, because they're trying to see if there's a big discrepancy within your what you put on there and what you have been previously filing, because they want to know if you're filing more money to get EIDL. So make sure that you have your 2018. If you was not in business during that time, you don't have to worry about it. But if your transcript is not showing up, I would suggest that you call and make an appointment to go to a IRS site. And a lot of these appointments are getting booked up because people are trying this. You're going to have to go and get your taxes clocked in, and your loan officer, you may have to, if they decline you may have to file a reconsideration and take those stamp taxes, and then hopefully, and talk to, whenever you're there, the IRS, talk to them about generating you a transcript. They're not going to take a transcript from you for the SBA, but you can ask them to pull your transcript again. That's where they're asking you to sign the 4506T. And you want to make sure that your transcript is on file. Also, this is where a lot of people, if you're doing fraud, they're going to get people hung up because they won't have a tax transcript. So a lot of those people that may have been committing fraud, they may not qualify for the increase if they don't have a tax return on file with the IRS, because they are pulling the 4506T. Remember that if your loan is less than $200,000, there's no personal guarantee. And you'll have it to log in to get, if you go to IRS, but you will have to log in to get it. Yes, that's correct, OJ, but you got to remember, it depends on if you're just pulling a transcript for a person or you pulling a business one. So there's a difference. Also, because some people file a separate return for their corporation versus their personal, so it works a little bit different. So I would just make sure that you go and you check that out. Also, if you take less than $200,000, there's no personal guarantee. That means that if the business go belly up, you have to file bankruptcy, you personally won't be liable for the funds. But if you take more than $200,000, you will be personally liable for the funds. If you end up with more than $500,000, then they will want some kind of collateral. So with this being said, at 3.75% interest rate, which is a low interest rate, and there's very minimum hoops that you have to jump through to get this money. They're asking for a copy of the back and front of a voided check. They're asking for a picture of your ID front and back. If you, what kind of entity you are, a corporate resolution, insurance, your hazard insurance information. Those are the basic things that you need. I would suggest you start getting those things together, because you want, when that loan officer starts working on your file, you don't want them to have to keep coming back to you asking you for stuff, or you don't want to be scrambling around trying to find stuff and you're delaying your funds because you don't have your paperwork in order. So again, I'm just giving you the basics of what I was asked for today in order to get my increase. So and then they're asking you to, even though you signed one electronically when you did the request for the increase, they're asking for another 4506T to be signed as well. So that there's total transparency, and they're asking you for your actual loss for the calendar year of 2020. So just be mindful of all of that. Hopefully that, and then also write to your senators and your Congress people and ask them to ask for the EID to either be forgiven or partly forgiven, or for the rate to be reduced from the 3.75. So hopefully, cross your fingers. You'll be getting a call or email really soon. Make sure you check in your junk email. Make sure you are doing SBA.gov, searching your email every day to make sure that you're not missing out on any funds. Make sure you're looking at missed calls and also numbers that you're not familiar with. Also, a lot of people they're saying that they're dead, or they have child support and they don't, or they're saying that people answered the questions incorrectly. Get the documentation. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged because they are declining you or whatever. Go through the reconsideration process. But while your lender, your loan officer has your file open, ask them the questions, see what they will take as documentation in order for them to go ahead and finish processing your loan if there seems to be error. But I've been hearing that the biggest two errors are people, they're saying that the person is deceased, and the other error is saying that they have child support that they're behind on, and the person doesn't even have any child support. So be very mindful and careful of that when you're talking about your EIDL to your loan officer. Call them on the phone if you need to. Today I called my loan officer 3 times, and she actually picked up the phone every time that I called her today. So get what you need, get your money, and remember that in difficulty lies opportunity. Make sure that you don't miss out on this opportunity to get the help that you need for your business to flourish and grow. And remember that if you are a sole proprietor, you are eligible for everything that a small business or big business is eligible for right now through these programs. So don't let people that know nothing about nothing discourage you or just to eliminate you from the process. Let the SBA be the do the eliminating. Do not let these people who know nothing about nothing eliminate you from the process, your progress, so that you can turn this pandemic into a bandemic.